I could see men's shoes at my door as he slowly pushed it open. Hello? Hi, I'm Meredith. This is Rattled and Shook, and I'm going to tell you a true creepy story. This is the creepiest one I've told in a while, actually. This one was sent in by Shelby B. I have a family member I house sit for. He lives deep in the woods, 6 miles down a road with few houses, mostly miles of trees. It's a place that gives me the absolute creeps, especially after what happened earlier this month. This family member has a large dog who barks at unfamiliar people or cars, but is otherwise harmless. Once he's within arm's reach, he's eager to get straight to the cuddling. It was a typical night. My uncle was still in town, packing for a trip he was leaving for that night. He left around 8 p.m., and the woods were quiet by the time I went to bed upstairs around 9. Perhaps an hour into my sleep, the dog started barking bloody murder and growling. I could tell from where I was that this started in the dining room, and he seemed to follow whatever it was in a complete circle to the living room, front foyer, and back to the kitchen. I sat up, curious, and tried to see if perhaps I didn't hear a car approach on the gravel driveway. Maybe it was one of his nephews just cruising by to check in. But there was no car. And that's when, downstairs, I heard a noise that turned my stomach to ice. A faint tapping on the window that sent the dog into another crazy spree. If it were a family member, I certainly didn't feel like they'd be on foot, and my uncle would have mentioned any visitors that were coming by. The dog stopped, and I stood in the dark, staring out from the safety of the blinds for several minutes, and nothing happened. I convinced myself it was a critter, a curious raccoon or an opossum. I settled back into bed, scolding myself for watching too many horror movies, and just as I was drifting off, maybe 20 minutes later, I heard the chime that goes off when either the door leading to the garage or the front patios opens. And the garage door is never locked. I sat up like a rocket and broke into a cold sweat as I heard his dog slide across the tile, excited to greet this unwanted visitor. There were several cars on his property, so I hoped I could stealthily just throw a few things on my bed to make it look like a messy guest room. So I tossed some mail and a few books, unplugged my charger, and grabbed my phone to further hide the evidence of ever being there. Then I snatched a machete that I keep hidden behind a nightstand, and I shimmied under the bed. I didn't want the sound of 911 coming from my phone, so I sent a text to my mom and uncle. All caps. Intruder. 911. 911. 911. I could hear faint footsteps downstairs, followed by a, "Good boy, happy dog. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Do you know go to bed?" I heard this man walk down the hall towards the staircase and move the dog gate out of the way. I went rigid as they climbed the stairs. I heard him humming as if he was playing hide and seek. From the floor, I could see men's shoes at my door as he slowly pushed it open. "Hello," he said quietly, playfully. He walked towards the bed, unconcerned about turning on the lights apparently. Then he walked around the bed before sitting at the end of it. "Hello. I know you're here somewhere. I didn't see you leave with the man earlier. Are you shy?" The way that he said that last part will live with me forever. It came out slow, almost taunting. "Are you shy?" I was fucking terrified, but also ready to go with my weapon. But then he just stood up and left the room, going to the one across from mine that's filled with storage. "That's okay," he said aloud, and then one word at a time. I'm shy too. What the actual fuck was wrong with this person? He then exited the room and proceeded down the stairs while saying, "Don't be so shy next time. We're going to become such nice friends." I kid you not, I almost vomited from terror. This person walked down the stairs and exited the way they came. When I finally shimmied out from under the bed, I peeked through the blinds, and this lunatic wandered out to the field and stared at the house until I could hear sirens in the distance. And that's when he finally turned and walked off into the woods. My uncle was horrified. He installed motion-activated lights, changed all the locks, and put in cameras. But that was not enough for me. I packed up, and I left the next day. They could find a new house sitter.